always from the heart of the city, and now on demand 24/7 on the CHFI website. This is the soundtrack to a very special program, and I'm Don Jackson around the world on the internet. William J. Bennett from The Moral Compass, published by Simon & Schuster, wrote, "Much of life is a moral and spiritual journey, and it makes no sense to send young people on this journey having offered them only some timid, vacillating opinions about proper conduct. We must give children better equipment than that. We must offer them unequivocal, reliable standards of right and wrong, noble and base, just and unjust. We must treat life as a moral endeavor." Unquote. Speaking of life, I wanted this hour to be about life, since it is the weekend that we contemplate life and death and rebirth. Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Van Morrison, Have I Told You Lately, and Whitney Houston, And I Look to You. And I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Margaret Lee Runbeck from Hope of Earth, published by Houghton Mifflin, wrote, and I quote, "A man leaves all kinds of footprints when he walks through life. Some you can see, like his children and his house. Others are invisible, like the prints he leaves across other people's lives, the help he gives them, and what he has said, his jokes, gossip that has hurt others, encouragement. A man doesn't think about it, but everywhere he passes, he leaves some kind of mark. All these marks added together are what man means." Margaret Lee Runbeck from Hope of Earth, published by Houghton Mifflin. Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. In Sync, and This I Promise You, and Ryan Dan with The Face. I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Milton Kundera from The Act of the Novel, published by Grove, wrote, "Inexperience is a quality of the human condition. We are born one time only. We can never start a new life equipped with the experience we've gained from a previous one. We leave childhood without knowing what youth is. We marry without knowing what it is to be married. And even when we enter old age, we don't know what it is we're heading for. The old are innocent children of their old age. In that sense, man's world is the planet of inexperience." Milton Kundera from The Act of the Novel, published by Grove. Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Luther Vandross and Dance with My Father. Steve Winwood, A Higher Love, and Five for Fighting with the Riddle. And I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Herbert Benson, interviewed by John Koch in Boston Globe magazine some years back, said, "Isn't it interesting that in every culture from which we have a written history, there's always been a belief in something more, powers, energies beyond us, afterworlds. That's good. It gives us hope." Unquote. And Morris West from A View from the Ridge, published by Harper, San Francisco, wrote, and I quote, "Anyone who's survived a cardiac event will say the same thing. Every hour is a bonus. You prize people. You don't quarrel anymore. You discuss. You don't grasp at things because, after all, the Creator didn't close his hand on you, but let you sit quietly like a butterfly on his palm." Unquote. Morris West from A View from the Ridge, published by Harper, San Francisco. Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Nellie Furtado with Keith Urban, In God's Hands, and Tim McGraw and Live Like You Were Dying. And I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. J.B. Priestley in Outcries and Asides, published by Heinemann, wrote, and I quote, "To live with death is also to live with life. To banish all thought of death is to begin losing the flavor, zest, and quality of life. Ancient peoples, like the Egyptians, with their skeleton at the feast, understood this. Shakespeare understood it too. But now, far too many people are refusing to understand it. They drive the thought of death down into the unconscious, where in the dark depths, death swarms and proliferates, haunting dreams and unguarded moments of the conscious mind. In it, there begins to be a loss of that vital energy which living demands." Unquote. J.B. Priestley in Outcries and Asides, published by Heinemann. Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Beyonce with Halo. Sarah McLachlan with Angel and Bryan Adams, Everything I Do It for You. Krishnamurti in Think of These Things, published by Harper and Row, and I quote, "To love is the most important thing in life. When you love someone because that person loves you in return, surely that is not love. To love is to have that extraordinary feeling of affection without asking anything in return. If while you are young you don't feel love, if you don't look with love at people, at animals, at flowers, when you grow up, you will find that your life is empty. You will be very lonely, and the dark shadows of fear will follow you always. But the moment you have in your heart this extraordinary thing called love and feel the depth, the delight, the ecstasy of it, you will discover that for you the world is transformed." Unquote. One of the greatest lessons of life. Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Good night, sweet dreams. I'm Don Jackson.